The story begins with the demon lord of Varvatos, who is dissatisfied with his current life because nobody recognizes him as a human. In order to start afresh, he chooses to reincarnate himself through magic. Fast forward to today, he celebrates his 10th birthday as Ard Meteor and is born into an average family. While the study of magic has declined, Ard possesses remarkable physical strength and magical abilities. When his parents inquire about his aspirations, Ard secretly desires to establish friendships. However, his attempts to befriend other kids end in disappointment. Frustrated, Ard unleashes his anger by destroying the forest. Later, he is approached by Mayor Olhide Weiss. The mayor advises Ard that treating others with respect and kindness is the key to making friends. Motivated by these words, Ard strives to follow the advice, but still struggles to make new friends. During one outburst in the woods, Ard hears the anguished voice of a little girl. Ard flies towards the distressing voice and finds a young elf girl entangled in a battle with a monster wolf. After observing the situation, Ard deduces that the girl is venting her anger. She employs a magic spell to turn the wolf into ash. She reminds him of Lydia, his companion from the previous life. However, Ard's attempts to compliment her and initiate a conversation fail. Despite Ard's plea to be friends, the girl tearfully declines and runs away. Later, Olhide bids farewell to Ard's parents, revealing that the girl is actually his daughter, Irina. The two cross paths again, but Ard struggles to establish a friendship with her. Suddenly, a large group of goblins launches an attack on the village. Olhide informs them that Irina hasn't returned from the forest since the afternoon. Ard decides to search for Irina and rushes off. He finds her surrounded by goblins, on the verge of accepting her grim fate. Ard intervenes and uses his magic to defeat the goblins. Eventually, they reconcile, and Irina finally embraces Ard's friendship. After the passage of several years, Ard awakens to the sight of Irina's cheerful expression. She proposes that they both attend the Academy of Magic together. After their visit to the Academy, Ard and Irina have a meeting with Gold, the headmaster of the Laville National Academy of Magic. They undergo practical and written tests, and the both of them pass said tests. Unbeknownst to them, we see a mysterious figure secretly observing their interactions. As they enter their classroom, they're greeted by a majority of students who eagerly express their desire to befriend Ard and Irina. Amidst the warm reception, they witness a distressing scene involving a young succubus named Ginny, who's being bullied by a student from a noble background. Recognizing the injustice, Irina steps forward to intervene. The bully, revealed as Eldorado, claims ownership over the succubus, citing she belongs to their household. This unfair arrangement prompts Ard to step in, insisting that the succubus be treated fairly and demanding an apology from Eldorado. In an attempt to resolve the conflict, Eldorado proposes a battle between himself and Ard as a means of settling the dispute. As the tension mounts, Olivia, one of the Academy's teachers, enters the scene. Ard, filled with fear, recognizes Olivia as one of the most esteemed generals of the demon lord Varvatos. He anxiously hopes that she does not recognize him as the reincarnation of Varvatos. In their brief conversation, Ard manages to convince Olivia to sanction the battle between him and Eldorado. The battle begins with Eldorado attacking and using powerful flare spells, and Ard defends himself with barriers. In the end, Ard wins the fight by using his own powerful Giga Flare spell. After the battle, Olivia questions Ard about the ability to cast multiple spells simultaneously while fighting. Nervous, Ard quickly makes up an excuse. Olivia backs off for now, but she insists that she will eventually find out the truth. The next day, Olivia takes on the role of teaching the class and organizes the students into groups. Irina invites Ginny to join their group, and Ginny gladly accepts, introducing herself. Following Olivia's instructions, everyone is directed to the 3rd floor of the dungeon for a task involving hunting and skinning a black wolf. As Ard's group ventures deeper into the dungeon, they encounter a pack of black wolves. However, Ard and Irina easily defeat the wolves using a flare spell. Ginny feels apologetic for her lack of effectiveness, but Ard kindly offers to give her a personal magic class. He introduces spirit magic, a new type of magic he has developed. Later on, they face the boss creature of the dungeon, and Ginny proves herself by actively participating in the fight and ultimately emerging victorious. Back on the surface, Olivia is astonished to witness Ard's group successfully defeating the boss. Upon learning that Ard taught them unique spirit magic, Olivia becomes intrigued and decides to have a chat with him again. In the principal's office, Gold asks Ard to participate in a student fight event taking place the following day, which will be attended by the Queen. Gold emphasizes that this event presents an opportunity for the school to secure a larger budget. Art expresses that he needs some time to consider this offer. Later on, Ginny approaches Art and asks him out on a date. However, Irina suddenly bursts onto the scene, insisting on joining the date, and Ginny happily agrees to include her. The group sets off on their date in town, beginning with watching a captivating play as their first activity. After the play, Ginny leads the group to a restaurant for their next stop. On the way, they notice a gathering of veiled individuals engaged in a discussion about the Queen. Ard's group follows them until they reach a large circle-shaped area. Suddenly, they're ambushed from behind by the veiled group. The leader activates a magic circle, engulfing Ard in flames, but he manages to escape from the flames unscathed, then retaliates by destroying the circle with his own spell. He swiftly dispatches the remaining attackers, leaving only the leader standing. However, the leader transforms into a demon and escapes by creating a massive hole in the walls. Without hesitation, Ard decides to pursue the creature. The demon, now holding a young girl hostage, instills fear among the residents in the nearby neighborhood. However, Ard introduces himself and assures the people that he can handle the situation. With ease, he confronts the monster and successfully defeats it, rescuing the little girl and restoring safety to the area. The following day, Ard, Irina, and Ginny have a meeting with Queen Rosa. Surprisingly, it's revealed that Irina already knows the Queen. During the meeting, Queen Rosa shocks everyone by proposing a marriage to Ard. However, Ard respectfully declines her proposal. Instead, he makes a bold request for increased funding for his academy. Impressed by Ard's humility and his focus on the betterment of the academy, Queen Rosa grants him a prestigious title and a larger budget to support his endeavors. Meanwhile, the hooded figures who previously attacked Ard are seen engaging in a discussion about their previous failure. Later, Gold informs instructor Jessica that Ard has decided not to participate in the upcoming battle event. At the same night, tensions arise between Irina and Ginny as they argue for Ard. The argument escalates, leading to a proposition of a battle between Irina and Ginny themselves. However, Ard steps in and scolds them for their behavior. Just as they're about to shake hands and reconcile, Jessica abruptly enters the room. She proposes that they settle their differences through the forthcoming battle event. Jessica highlights that it would provide an excellent opportunity for Ard to showcase his skills and potentially become an instructor at the institution. Both Irina and Ginny accept the proposition. On the day of the fight, Ard's parents and Whis appear as special guest commentators. Meanwhile, Irina demonstrates her mastery of Ard's script magic and emerges victorious in her match, while Ginny also triumphs on the other side. The fight progresses, leading to the finals where Ginny and Irina are pitted against each other. The highly anticipated match begins, but before either of them can make a move, demons suddenly appear from the audience. While Ginny and Irina valiantly battle the demons within the arena, they struggle against a crystal golem that emerges during the chaos. Just as the situation becomes dire, Whis utilizes his power to destroy the golem. However, a shocking twist unfolds as Jessica reveals herself to be Elzard, the frenzied king of dragons, and she is here to kidnap Irina. To everyone's shock, Elzard stabs Whis, betraying them all. Ginny confronts Elzard, attempting to use her magic powers, but her attacks are blocked by Elzard's barrier. Overwhelmed by Elzard's strength, Ginny is knocked unconscious. Irina, feeling helpless, decides to surrender, allowing Elzard to seize her and fly out of the arena. In the infirmary, Ard reassures everyone that he will do whatever it takes to rescue Irina. Whis offers Ard unlimited access to the royal treasury as a reward for his assistance. Ard's father, Jack, advises Whis to reveal the truth about their past. However, Whis is uncertain about whether it's the right time to share such information, considering the complicated circumstances that they find themselves in. In the meantime, Irina regains consciousness, only to find herself bound by a crimson, translucent magic ball. Elzard appears and reveals to Irina that she is to be sacrificed in order to summon evil gods into their world. On the other hand, Ard, who is determined to save Irina, embarks on his mission. Using a powerful spell, he defeats all the creatures in his path and successfully rescues Irina from Elzard's clutches. Elzard, amused by the turn of events, unveils a shocking revelation. Irina's surname, Olihide, is a fabrication, and her true name is Laville. This revelation signifies that she carries the blood of the evil gods. Back at Whis' mansion, Whis and Jack discuss the true lineage of Whis' family, revealing that they are the rightful rulers of the country. while the current rulers are merely acting as proxies. Elzard launches a lightning spell at Ard, who skillfully nullifies it using his spear. Just when it appears that Ard had defeated Elzard by impaling her with his magic, she undergoes a complete transformation into her full dragon form. In a crucial moment, Ard utilizes a spell to summon a golden woman named Lydia, who casts a powerful golden barrier to protect him. The woman then transforms into a broadsword, which she wields skillfully to aid him in the initial phase of the battle. As the battle progresses into its second phase, Ard calls upon Lydia to equip him with new armor and transform himself. Ard controls Elzard with unwavering determination. He unleashes the spell Ultimum Zero, defeating Elzard and emerging victorious. After the chaos, Ard asks Irina to continue their friendship, which she agrees. Irina expresses her deep gratitude to Ard and vows to become even stronger herself. Later, a new character named Sylphie is introduced. After completing her supposed 3-year training in the Phantom Forest dungeon, Sylphie is approached by a mysterious masked man. To her surprise, he reveals that instead of a mere 3 years, she's been missing from the world for a staggering 3,000 years. The masked man proceeds to inform Sylphie that Varvatos is no longer alive, but has been reborn in the current realm. He advises her to seek information about Varvatos' reincarnation, who now goes by the name Ard Meteor, if she wishes to understand Lydia's current condition. Meanwhile, at the academy, the school festival preparations are getting started, and we see Gold show Ard a threatening letter which is attributed to the organization Lars Al Ghul. Gold asks Ard to protect the school grounds during the school festival. Amidst the preparations, Sylph confronts Ard in anger, demanding answers about his reincarnation and the whereabouts of Lydia. Irina steps in to defuse the situation, attempting to calm Sylphie's anger. This leads to Sylphie challenging Ard to a duel, with Olivia, the instructor, allowing it to take place. Ard and Sylphie face each other on the duel grounds, seemingly evenly matched. However, Ard emerges as the victor. Unwilling to accept defeat, Sylphie conjures a magical blade called Demise Argus. Despite her fierce intentions, Ard manages to protect himself. Olivia steps in and stops Sylphie from casting the spell, scolding her for the harm she's caused the students and the school. Sylphie is reprimanded by Irina, which reminds her of Lydia. Later that afternoon, Ard gathers with the students to discuss their upcoming gathering. They brainstorm ideas, and Ginny suggests the idea of a maid cafe, because this is an anime after all. However, unbeknownst to them, they are being observed by the masked man who previously approached Sylphie in the city. The following day, Ard and Irina attend the school festival and start patrolling to ensure everyone's safety amidst the threat from Lars Al Ghul. While on duty, they come across a large tree, and Ard shares a story about the Great Sword King burying a rare artifact there, piquing their curiosity. During the festival, an announcement is made about the sword tournament, where participants can compete for the grand prize, a replica of the Holy Sword, which was wielded by Lydia. Irina enthusiastically declares that she and Ard will compete, and Ginny also decides to join in. Sylphie, driven by her desire to claim the prize for Lydia, also prepares herself for the tournament. On the day of the competition, Ard, Irina, and Ginny advance through the rounds and make it to their finals. Excitement fills the air as they face off against each other. In the tournament, Ard faces Olivia and defeats her by utilizing a reflection spell, causing her to be launched out of the Colosseum. However, he's disqualified from the tournament for using a prohibited spell. Meanwhile, Irina competes against Ginny in a fierce battle, ultimately emerging victorious. The masked man continues to observe the events, carefully taking notes on what transpires. Later that day, Sylphie notices someone who resembles Lydia, but it turns out to be a different person. This discovery surprises her, and the mysterious masked man approaches her. The scene then shifts, and we see Sylphie announcing her wish to win the sword competition and asks Ard to accompany her to the tree at night. At the sword tournament, Sylphie effortlessly defeats Irina in their match. That night, Ard meets Sylphie at the designated location, while Ginny and Irina observe from a distance. Sylphie's eyes turn red as she vows to assassinate Ard. Sylphie discloses that the sword, Vald Galgulus, believed to be a replica, is actually the genuine article. She summons the Demise Argus and, wielding both swords, undergoes a powerful transformation. While fighting, it's revealed that the masked man brainwashed Sylphie into attempting to assassinate him. Despite the efforts of Irina and Ginny to intervene, Sylphie remains determined to carry out her plan. Ard, despite his best efforts, is unable to stop Sylphie in her transformed state. As she's about to strike him, she hears Lydia's voice from Ard's sword, causing her to break free from the manipulation spell. The masked man then picks both swords up, intending to strike down Ard. But Ard shows his true powers, striking his arm. In a surprising turn of events, the masked man loses control of the sword and gets defeated. As things calm down, the spirit of Lydia emerges within the sword. Lydia briefly communicates with Sylphie, leaving her visibly emotional by the encounter. A few days after the incident, the group finds themselves in a carriage, heading towards their school trip destination. However, time suddenly freezes, and they find themselves hurling into an abyss. Eventually, they land in a strange, grayish-white void, where they encounter a young child claiming to be a god. He asks for their help to deal with a troublesome entity that is causing chaos in the realms under his control. When they wake up, Ard realizes that they've been transported back in time to the Vardia Empire. This empire was once ruled by the demon lord Varvatos, aka Ard. Given the circumstances, Ard suggests that they should meet the Demon Lord and fulfill their mission to eliminate the disruptive entity. Shortly after, they come across a beast woman who's being pursued by a dangerous creature. Ard swiftly uses his magic to neutralize the threat, saving the beast woman. They're then approached by Olivia, who expresses her gratitude for their intervention and requests that they accompany her. The following day, Olivia takes them to a city where she insists that Ard join her forces in the ongoing fight against the demons. Ard in turn requests that both Irina and Ginny join him and enroll in the Verda troops before he agrees to Olivia's proposal. Although Olivia initially disapproves of this condition, Ard's logical reasoning convinces her to allow Irina and Ginny to join them. Later, as the group pays a visit to Verda's research facility, Verda realizes that Ard's group has come from the future to offer assistance and learns about the issue they're facing. In the midst of their discussion, Sylphie abruptly bursts into the scene, attempting to apprehend Verda. She brings Lydia, who demands additional reinforcements from her. Verda shifts her focus to Ard's group, and Lydia, upon spotting Ginny, tries to mess with her. Ard intervenes, raising Lydia's suspicions, and suggests settling their conflict outside. Ard and Lydia engage in a battle that continues into the night. With no clear victor, the two warriors acknowledge each other's skills. She asks Ard and the others to join her on the front lines. In return, Ard requests a meeting with Varvatos, but Lydia insists that he must first earn his trust. Lantima, one of Lydia's attendants, arranges their stay at the mansion temporarily. As they observe Lydia's army making preparations for the battle, they come to the realization that they're witnessing the Battle of Aurelia Plains. In the heat of the battle, Ard's group is assigned the task of safeguarding the army's supplies. However, they find themselves unexpectedly ambushed by enemy forces. On the other hand, Lydia's army manages to breach the enemy's fort successfully. The enemy commander, named Bulgan, launches a surprise attack on Ard's group. Utilizing his magical abilities, Ard defeats Bulgan, and shortly thereafter, Lydia and Sylphie arrive at the scene to express their gratitude for Ard's assistance. Lydia mentions that Varvatos wishes to meet with them due to their commendable actions. Then we see Ard's group traveling towards Varvatos' castle. On their way to the throne room, they get attacked by a fireball, and Ard swiftly shields everyone from the flames. And Alverdo, the one responsible for the attack, apologizes for his impolite behavior. Lydia, eager to fight, approaches Alvardo, but Varvatos intervenes and orders Alvardo to leave. Varvatos guides everyone to his great throne room, where Ginny and Irina address him as the Demon Lord. However, this declaration triggers a revelation that another individual has taken on the title of Demon Lord. Ard begins to suspect that the god who sent them back in time may have intended for them to defeat the phony Demon Lord and prevent him from altering history. Verda warns them that defeating this new Demon Lord will be no easy task, as he's gained control over most of the territory and even Varvatos can't defeat him. Ginny proposes that they reveal their true origins as time travelers to Varvatos, but Ard disagrees, believing that they must first accomplish more to substantiate their story. Just then, Lydia bursts into the room requesting Ard's presence on the front lines. Ard joins Lydia, Sylphie, and a small army as they set out to confront Melvius, also known as the Curse King. The mention of Mevilus shocks Ard as he remembers that this individual was responsible for Lydia's death in his previous life. However, as they reach their destination, they discover Mevilus already dead. he was killed by the new Demon Lord, who proclaims himself as the successor and declares war against Barbados before vanishing from sight. Afterwards, at the castle, Ard finds himself visited by the imposter Demon Lord, who warns him about Lydia's impending fate, mirroring what happened in her original timeline. To Ard's surprise, the imposter reveals himself to be an alternate version of Ard from a different dimension, going by the name Disaster Rogue. Disaster Rogue discloses that he, too, was sent to this era by God. His mission is to alter the course of history and prevent Lydia from meeting her tragic end. He implores Ard to join him in this endeavor, seeking his assistance. Ard is taken aback by the unexpected request and questions what exactly this God is thinking. Disaster Rogue tries to convince Ard by asking him to recall how Lydia perished in their timeline. To push Ard further, he shares his own personal journey of attempting to end his own life, only to be halted by the forces of destiny. He confesses that he desires Lydia to be the one to end his life as a form of redemption. He once again asks Ard to join him in their shared mission to save Lydia. Ard is momentarily swayed by this proposal, but an inner warning gives him pause. He decides to take 3 days to carefully weigh Disaster Rogue's offer. Later we see Ard and Lydia share some moments together, enjoying each other's company. They eventually make their way back to the mansion, where Lydia surprises Irina and Ginny with heart-shaped trinkets as gifts. As the highly anticipated day of the war arrives, the army of the powerful Demon Lord struggles in front of Barbados' army. Meanwhile, Ard pays a visit to Disaster Rogue and shares his decision not to assist in the mission to rescue Lydia, respecting her wishes. The statement amuses Disaster Rogue, leading to a confrontation between the two characters. However, Disaster Rogue is confident in his plan, believing it will give him an advantage in convincing him. Ard decides to leave Irina and Ginny behind at the mansion. However, Latima approaches him with a crucial message from Ard. She informs them that Ard wants them to leave the mansion immediately and leads them into a nearby forest. Latima assures them that this is part of Ard's strategic plan to defeat the Demon Lord. She discloses that Ard has uncovered the Demon Lord's secret. He's using a vessel to attain immortality, and Ard has devised a daring plan to destroy this vessel. As they draw closer to their destination, they're unexpectedly attacked by an unknown assailant. Sensing the danger, Latima instructs Ginny and Irina to continue their mission without her. They stumble upon the very vessel Latima had mentioned. However, it was a trap, and Latima, whom they trusted, has been working in allegiance with the Demon Lord. Disaster Rogue tries to persuade Ard to join forces with him by offering to spare the lives of Ard's companions. However, Ginny and Irina manage to escape from their captors. To stop them, Latima summons powerful demons and monsters. Just when it seems all hope is lost, Lydia arrives on the scene and destroys Disaster Rogue's vessel, revealing the tracking devices hidden within the hairpins she had given them. Lydia valiantly battles the monsters and defeats Latima. Ard tries to reason with the enraged Disaster Rogue, but his efforts fall on deaf ears. The two of them engage in an intense battle. In the end, Ard emerges victorious and strikes Disaster Rogue, who reminds him that he is repeating the same mistake that led to Lydia's death in the past. Following this showdown, Ard, Irina, and Ginny emit a golden light, indicating the completion of their mission. Before bidding farewell, Irina and Ginny share valuable information about the future with Lydia, who entrusts them with a message for Ard. Later, Ard finds himself in a white spatial abyss, where he encounters God, who praises him for successfully eliminating the anomaly. However, Ard expresses his strong desire to never see this deity again, and demands to know their identity. The deity reveals himself as Ard's ally. The scene then shifts back to the present time, where Ard, Irina, and Ginny are awakened by Olivia and Sylphie, who inform them that they've arrived at their location. Ard notices that the two girls are still wearing the hairpins bestowed upon them by Lydia. Irina relays a message from Lydia to Ard. Intrigued and filled with a sense of purpose, Ard embarks on the next chapter of his journey, driven by the guidance of Lydia's apparition and the message that says, "Keep living, my friend."